Hello, welcome to another division preview. This time doing the AFC Teddy by Who's My Dog. Alright, let's get to this. So yeah, I mainly care about D-line because it's the only position I coach and care about. It's the best position too, so the D-line stuff will be more in depth and everything else is kind of more casual, but whatever. This is for funsies. And yeah, like and subscribe and all that stuff. And yeah, I think I'm gonna be more optimistic with this division. I kind of like what these teams have done. I was kind of more pessimistic about the AFC East because it's like, eh. But this division, I like it. So you have Anthony Richardson, who kind of like Trevor Lawrence. I think people kind of just remember how their seasons ended rather than how it started. Now, for different reasons. For Richardson, he got hurt, which sucks. Hopefully, it's not a reoccurring thing. I know people are gonna assume so because he is a quarterback that you can't run with, and that's kind of tough. It's gonna put some stress on your body, but yeah, that's just a tough thing. But man, Richardson looked like the best rookie quarterback coming out the gate. Like in college, he showed that he could keep an offense going. Didn't happen in Florida because that offense kind of sucked, but with good personnel, he could have kept an offense going. Was super hard to sack. Of course, he has the physical traits, big arm, super big and athletic. Like he has everything you'd want. So he's gonna come back healthy, and if he's running the show, this team could be really good. Like this team, the best part of this team is the trenches. It's so much better than any other team in the division. So I can see this team just having a huge year. But of course, it depends on Richardson because you can use him to run more in between the tackles and stuff, and like just a read option with him and Jonathan Taylor. That's gonna be great. It's gonna open things up for Jonathan Taylor too. Flacco and Ellinger, whatever. Sermon and Evan Hole as the backup running backs, whatever. Like Taylor's great. You lose Zach Moss, which like for a backup he was good, but yeah, like these two dudes are what I like Evan Hole though. Northwestern legend. The receiving weapons are fine. Like Jelani Woods is athletic. Granson makes cool catches. Molly Cox probably the best inline tight end. Tomlinson's a really good blocker. Ogletree and Will Mallory are cool. Nothing special. Sitting at wide receivers, like AD Mitchell might be the one dude that can become special. Like he's a crazy athlete. Pierce just runs deep. Downs is more of a slot guy, but he was really dependable. And Pittman's fine. Like I know he had a huge contract given out to him, but he's just fine. Like he doesn't do anything at a high level. He's just good. Man, this whole line. Like Bernard Raymond's good. Braden Smith is really good. Ryan Kelly's one of the best centers in the league ever since Kelsey retired. I know Quentin Nelson, like people are kind of down on him. Like, yeah, he came back from injury and then looked like the best player, but he's still a high level guard. Also way better than that PFF merchant Lindstrom, but I digress. He's still a high level guard, and Will Fries is kind of the surprise. Like he is clearly the worst player on this team, but he's kind of good, which is surprising. Like this team's insane run blocking wise. I do think chemistry does matter for run blocking wise and like pass protecting, just doing all that type of stuff. And this whole line was the same old line from last season, pretty much. And yeah, like them coming back, they're so good on combo blocks and knowing when to get to the next level, how long to stay on the D lineman for like stunts and when they're pass blocking. Like they're good at passing things off and picking up blitzes. Like this team is just so nice. And Will Fries, like he's really good in the run game. He can handle himself in one-on-ones in the pass game, and like he could easily be like the third best lineman on most teams, and he's the worst lineman on this team. Yeah, it's good. They drafted Matt Goncalves, Goncavies, Goncalves. I don't know how to say that name, but anyways, they drafted him. He seems fine. I didn't like Bordelini's tape. Kind of sucked. He's just athletic. which whatever. But yeah, Freeland wasn't good either. He's just a cone, a traffic cone out there. But they invest in the depth, and that's nice. That's good. I feel like they drafted Gone Cows because Freeland played, and yeah. But regardless, really good offense. You got Gus Bradley. Part of this defense, DBs. I don't know. I feel kind of iffy about like Moore is really great as a nickelback. Juju Brent and Jalen Jones played pretty well, but it's kind of the issue with relying on just low end picks. Because yeah, like depending on your team and scheme, like you could get a lot from them, but sometimes you need more. I don't think they have that, but whatever. Cross and Blackman are cool, and for the front seven, it's a bit interesting because like AJ Speed and Zaire Franklin are cool, but the way they play with their backers is they don't really shoot gaps or attack. Or like their run fits, they just stay patient. They just flow over and play like 5 yards deep, which makes things a bit different for combo blocks because when a backer like sees a combo blocks and he shoots his gap, it's easy for the O lineman just to be on a combo block and one lineman to just push the D lineman over for the other lineman to take over and he picks up the backer. But when the backers are staying 5 yards back, they have to push the D lineman, get more depth on it sometimes. And then whoever goes off to backer, he has to play in space now to get to the backer, which, like just using basic physics, is like it's easier for a small guy to avoid a big guy. Just with his athleticism, and so it kind of makes things a bit tough. It's just a bit different ways of playing it, but so yeah, these backers are way more patient, and it helps out against play action because they're just reading things in front of them and they're not shooting gaps. If they see, oh, QB's has a ball in his hands and they just drop back easily, so kind of fits because they run a lot of zone. I mean, Gus Bradley, Seattle disciple, so makes sense. But because they play that way, it means you need their front level to hold their ground. And yeah, this D line is really great. So nice. I'll start with the edges. Pays whatever. Like he just used as a pocket pusher. He doesn't do anything at a high level. He's and set the edge. Plays well in the run game. He's nothing special. Ibukam is fast. He's cool. Deo Dangabo is just a bowling ball. He just goes. Taekwon Lewis is a good run defender, and Bernard Avery's here. Didn't know he was still in the league. So they drafted Latu, and I think it's because they needed more pass rush, more consistent, a consistent pass rush winner off the edge. It's like Ebukam's cool, but he's more of a role player. He just goes fast, and then Kwity Paye's just not anything crazy. But Latu is a guy that he could give one-on-ones to, and he could win them. And in college, like he would use a cross chop, and he's gonna win more with stuff like that, where it's more banking on O lineman mistakes rather than winning with traits. Where with winning with traits, it kind of forces O lineman into bad positions, whereas he's winning more with hand fighting. But when he turns a corner and flips his hips, he has such a strong lower body, such a fluid lower body that it's hard to push him outside the arc of the pass rush when you're in a losing position because of that. And so that's a really good trait to have for Latu, where once he gets you in a bad position, like he'll just punish you for it. But the one thing though is I think he just needs a change up because he always tried to do a cross chop, and when he played against Jordan Morgan, who even though he has stubby hands, because he was playing more patient against Latu, and he was just patient, and then when Latu had to do his move and he shot his hands, it kind of slowed down Latu because Latu couldn't punish him for being more patient, and he's more banking on you to shoot your hands, which sounds so simple, like don't shoot your hands or don't be aggressive, but it's kind of hard to do in the trenches, especially when you have Latu just coming off the edge. So like that's why he has to change things up. Like Latu, like with the way he wins, he could beat up on bad tackles consistently. So that's going to be a really nice thing to have on this team. Something they're kind of missing. And for the interior, like Grover Stewart, one of the best nose tackles in the game. That dude's insane. He's insane. Like when he takes on double teams, splits them like easy, pushes the pocket really well. And then DeForest Buckner is this team's best player on the D line. He wins so much with just hand fighting. He's so long. He can win with the swim move. He clubs your hands like it's hard to reset your hands because he's so long. Like when he gets them away, it's just hard to recover against him. And he's really good in the run game too. Like he's no slouch. Is just an insane player. Raekwon Davis is a good run defender, a bit of a bigger boy, which kind of like what I said. Like they need guys like a hold on double teams and just set the line of scrimmage. He's one of those dudes. Eric Johnson, kind of similar. Taven Bryan kind of surprised me because he wasn't good, in my opinion. He wasn't a good prospect when I watched him, but I knew less back then. And it's kind of a fine pass rusher. Like besides Buckner and Stewart from the interior, like he's probably the next dude that you can trust to win one-on-ones. Not at a high level. Like he's pretty athletic and decent hand fighting, but he's really athletic. Uh, he should be better on stunts, but he's not. He isn't great at them. And on double teams, he it's kind of a toss up. It's a toss up between him handling the double team pretty well, or him getting blown back like 8 yards, which makes sense. He's small. He's a small dude, pretty light in the ass. So yeah, he's fine. I kind of like him more as like a fourth DT, fifth DT, nothing more. And then Adebaware Adetomiwa, that dude's pretty cool. He played a mix of edge and interior D line, and he's a lot more physical. Like in college, he would destroy base blocks. He's super athletic. I think he ran like a, I don't know, something crazy, like a 4.4 or something ridiculous. And he's super athletic. I like his potential more as like the crasher on stunts and even the looper too. Whereas Brian's not that physical, but Adebaware is super physical. So that's probably gonna could be the difference between like Adebaware being Paltic Scratch and him getting playing time. It's just how physical he is, how just solid he is as a run defender. He didn't play much last year, but yeah, I mean this team so nice. I'm gonna try to make this a bit quick. I don't know if I said that everyone should have a good 4th of July, but I hope everyone did. This is gonna come out like a day or two after. The next is the Jaguars, and yeah, some changes here. So Trevor Lawrence got a bag, huge contract. If you watch Lawrence play, you could tell he deserves it. He definitely deserves it. And the Jaguars team, it's so weird seeing the discussion around them because I think people forget that they were coasting their way to a home playoff game. Like people forget they started off 8-3, and then everything just went downhill because Trevor Lawrence got hurt, and when he came back, he was playing hurt. I mean, the O line wasn't good, but they lost Cam Robinson, which that hurt a bit. And then the worst part was they lost their best and most consistent receiver in Christian Kirk, which hurt a ton because they didn't really have anyone that could keep the offense going, and the run game was bad, so you couldn't rely on that. And so with all of that, they struggled, and the defense played horrible, like the second half of the season. So yeah, and they fired their DC because of it. I just feel like people just forget that this team was just doing really well. It was overperforming what you would expect from them. And Trevor Lawrence got paid, and there's like a weird, I don't know, people were just like, oh, he doesn't deserve it, or he's not that good, or they're just banking on potential. But it's like, no, like he is that good. And there's some talk like he's not a winner, but when healthy, he wins. Like, let's be for real with him. But yeah, he's insane. That dude's great. That dude's so good, especially in the pocket. It's so hard to just sack him. Like he just avoids pressure like crazy. He's so good at keeping the offense going. It's just that offense hasn't been good around him. I don't blame Press Taylor that much because I know he ran a ton of screens last season and the run game wasn't good, but I think it's more of a product of the team not being that good rather than just like his play calling. But yeah, it's kind of tough to differentiate between the talent and the play callers sometimes. Mac Jones traded for him, probably the second best QB in the 2021 draft class. But I mean, like because of the new rules where you need three quarterbacks, teams are gonna focus on trying to get three legit quarterbacks. So, that's why like CJ Beathard played and he wasn't that good. Mac Jones should at least be competent enough to have for a game or two if things go bad. And then yeah, Travis Etienne is a really good running back. That dude's really good. Likes to bounce things outside a bit, but whatever. Like he's super athletic. He can. And it's kind of the same thing. Like the O line wasn't good, so I think people were kind of just hating on him a bit and underrating him. But he's still a really good running back. Dearness Johnson's fine as a backup. Tank Bigsby, I don't understand that pick, but they made it. And the receiving core, so there's a reason why they kind of switched things up. Why they cut Zay Jones and let Calvin Ridley walk. Ridley wasn't consistent. Like that's the main thing with offenses. Like you just need to be able to keep the offense on time and keep the offense going to be able to play on time, stay ahead of the sticks, which is very important because you don't want to get into second and longs or third and longs when the D line could just tee off and just get after your quarterback because D line talent's way better than O line talent. It's just basic football, but this team couldn't stay ahead of the sticks. And because of that, they couldn't get consistent drives and score consistently. And they didn't really have any consistent dudes or when they had to pass the ball besides, I guess, Ingram and Christian Kirk. But really would get open, but when the ball was thrown his way, he would just do this. It's like, cool, good job. Good job, really. And yeah, I'll talk about it more when we get to the Titans, but he wasn't that great. Zay Jones, same thing. Like throw the ball to him, he'll just go, which sucks for Raiders legend. So they replaced them with Gabe Davis and Brian Thomas Jr. And Brian Thomas Jr. is more of a deep threat type dude. Just run deep, make catch, and that's what he's going to be used for because that's something that they were missing. Like, yeah, I really could get open deep, but of course, I have the drop C's, and they didn't really have anyone that could threaten deep. Christian Kirk's more of a slot receiver. And you get Gabe Davis, who, yeah, it's kind of funny because like most free agent signings are players that the coaching staff is familiar with, or players that go off against your team. And I'm pretty sure he had like a crazy game against the Jags. So yeah, he got paid big bucks. He's fine. He's a fine wide receiver. Double move merchant, but yeah. Devin Duvernay's more of a special teamer, so that's cool. Parker Washington, he's nice. Tim Jones here. And yeah, Denzel Mims is here. Was he traded or waived? Waived, huh? I didn't even know he was in Pittsburgh. Crazy. And then Evan Ingram, he's really good with the ball in his hands, just getting the ball out to him. He's a mismatch weapon, which is cool. He's not a great inline blocker, inline tight end, but you could do things with him in the pass game. Luke Farrell is supposed to be fine tight end. Brandon Strange was taken to be that inline blocker. Nepo baby, Josh Peterson, which is funny, but yeah, so fine, just a fine team. And the O line, like it's cool. Cam Robinson's a solid left tackle. Walker Little's a fine swing backup tackle. Ezra Cleveland, it's kind of a weird O line with the way it's built. Like Ezra Cleveland's more of a wide zone scheme, shorter, smaller guard. Brennan Sheriff should be more better in gap scheme, but whatever. Shatley is Shatley. Fortner suck. Like I'm pretty sure most of their O line issues can be attributed to Fortner, which is how bad he was. So they got Mitch Morse, who's a good center and a good pass blocker too, which is gonna be really nice. And the Sheriff had a down year, like he's starting to regress. When watching this offense, I'm mainly watching D line. It's just the only position I care about. But when I'm watching him go against this offense, There was a couple of times where I'm like, damn, there's where Cleveland got his butt kicked. And then someone's like, oh, that's actually Brandon Sheriff. Which it's not a good sign if I can't tell Sheriff and Cleveland apart with the way they're playing. And then Anton Harrison is probably a top 5 right tackle. That dude's good. That dude's so good. As a pass blocker, he's insane. He does, really nice as a run blocker. But man, like the main thing that's important with offensive tackles and pass blocking wise is how well he covers space and ground, or just how well he kicks it. And that dude is really good at it. So yeah, that dude's gonna be so insane. Javon Foster, I remember watching him a bit. He looks like a guard, right? Just to put it. Like I think Walker Little's gonna be more of the backup swing tackle, and then Foster's probably gonna play more guard because he did not have the movement skills to be a tackle at the NFL level. But we'll see what they do with them. Yeah, pretty neat offense. Darnell Savage is a nickelback. I don't know about that. Like as a safety, he was fine at getting to the right spots, especially in like run fits. But when he'd get there, he would miss the tackle, and yeah. But you could get there though. As a nickelback, though, I feel like he should be a decent tackler. I don't know, maybe Jarian Jones is a nickelback. Cisco looks fine. Antonio Johnson, whatever. Wingard's white, like. It's fine. Terrell Edmonds is here. Campbell's cool. Darby was fine too. A couple of late round dudes. Gregory Jr. That's cool. Armani Warrior's here. Nice. Backers. Lloyd's cool. Oluokun is a good tackler. Same thing. Just gets to the right spot and the run fits. I just remember David Lloyd being kind of dumb at his rookie year. Like, just as a backer, he's just dumb. Like, it's like, oh, run's going this way, he goes the other way. Or just pass coverage wise, like, he's just like lost. And doesn't have those moments as much. Chad Muma is fine. And yeah. Just a decent group. Their D line's interesting, so they made a ton of moves on the D line. A ton of moves. And I think that's one of their biggest issues was their D line because their interior kind of sucked last year. But you have Josh Allen, and so with Josh Allen, like I would say he's kind of an edge one type player, a guy that you could just focus on, give a ton of one-on-ones to, trust him to win those one-on-ones. I think he's more of a lower end edge one. And the difference between last season and this season, Josh Allen's the same dude, pretty much. The only difference is that the guy opposite of him, Trayvon Walker, got way better. And because of that, Josh Allen just got a lot of sacks funneled his way and was able to get more one-on-ones against bums, and he feasted off of them. So that's nice. And then Trayvon Walker, that dude's gonna be so fun. It kind of sucks he didn't get a ton of one-on-one opportunities. He was more used as like a pocket pusher, and like even Josh Allen, he just got one-on-ones. Wasn't like it was always forced, but with Trayvon Walker, like he's so athletic, he forces tackles in the bad positions because he's so fast and violent. Like when he uses speed of power, it's so beautiful to watch. And like when he tries to rush off the edge, like yeah, he's not gonna be great at rushing off the edge or rushing inside, but anything power wise, like he's gonna be great on. And it forces tackles in bad positions because you have this dude who's super huge, super fast, and super physical. Like he's gonna run through you. He's really good on stunts, could drop into coverage too. Like he's so physical as a crasher on stunts. Like it's so nice to watch. Like he just goes. So that's gonna be fun. Travis Gibson looked fine. Like he's just out there. When he rushes off the edge, it's like, oh, he can't turn the corner that well. That's fine as a run defender. I think he's fine. I don't like him as an edge 3 guy. but Walker and Allen played like 80% of snaps each. So if Gibson's playing like 20% of snaps, like 30%, I think that's fine. Not too bad. Abdullah's just a small edge, like whatever. And Miles Cole is listed at edge. Uh, I'll just I'll just group Miles Cole with the DTs. Honestly, who is this? Oh, this is the other Andre Carter. Yeah. All right. But yeah, so like Walker's gonna be so nice, and he's just getting a lot better. And now we have a dude that's a real DC here, so things are gonna be fun. Oh, and also Trevon Walker is just a top tier run defender too. I think if you gave me the option between Trayvon Walker and Hutchinson, I choose Walker. I know it's gonna get some people mad, but yeah. Robertson Harris is fine. Whatever. Devon Hampton was good a year ago, but then he got like a crazy injury and he hasn't been the same since. But like he was a nose tackle that could give you some pass rush from that spot, and he was nice against double teams and just a good nose tackle overall. But just need him to get healthy, and he had a huge contract too. Eric Armstead's good, but Armstead with the Niners was kind of used more as a role player, just because he had Bosa and Ron Hargrave who could give one-on-ones to. So Armstead wasn't really asked to do much besides be a looper or just be the hold player. But when given one-on-ones, like since he's kind of just long, he just wins with hand fighting and just finesses his way. And yeah, like I don't think he'll get a ton of one-on-ones here. Probably more than the Niners. Like there's really no one else we could give it to. But that's gonna be nice. He's gonna get more chances of pass rush. And he's good on stunts too. So just like him and Walker. That would be interesting if they do tackle and stunts with them. And then you have Mason Smith, who like sure, like I liked a couple of DTs over him, but the reason why Mason Smith's taken high is because there's not guys that are built like him, that are super long, big, strong. Like like a lot of these edges these days or DTs are kind of smaller now. But Smith is just huge and has super long arms. Just so nice if you're just when you're playing through base blocks, and you could create so much extension. Makes it so much easier to play in the run game. And so he has that. And as a pass rusher, he's not anything crazy. Like he is a lot more physical. He likes to do a swim move a ton, which makes sense. Like he has crazy long arms. Like when he swims over you, he's gonna create separate. Oops, he's gonna create separation. So he's gonna be fun. Like I like that pick. And Jordan Jefferson's another nose tackle, and he looks like he could be a solid nose tackle. So yeah, like a eventual Devon Hamilton replacement. Gotsis is whatever, whatever. And then Miles Cole, I like him. He's super athletic, but he's kind of a dumbass. Like I blame Texas Tech for that, but he just didn't know what he was doing. As a run defender, it's kind of annoying because he'll just play too high. Like he's a bit of a bigger guy that's super athletic, and so like he'll play too high, hands will slip off, he'll just get blocked, and it's like, dude. And then when he plays good, when he gets his hands inside the lineman's chest, gets that extension, like he's in control, and it looks so clean. And then as a pass rusher, like he's not super fluid, so like winning off the edge, he's not gonna be great at, but just the speed of power stuff can be a high level thing he does. Because he's so physical and so athletic, like when he just goes, and if he pushes the pocket, it's gonna be really nice. But same issue, like his hand placement's too high, whatever, and he just does whack stuff sometimes. Like I don't know. It's gonna be nice. He's gonna get some real coaching, but I think he has some potential to be just a nice role player, like a dude that has crazy athleticism that can be a contained player, can use speed of power at a high level. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. This team also looks like it could be better than last season. So yeah, two really nice teams. I think the Texans team I might be the most down on. It's gonna be a Niners type defense, Slowick Niners type offense. But yeah, two fullbacks. That's nice. Stroud's cool. Like we know he was the best rookie quarterback overall, and he played really well. Kind of played like the Stroud we've seen against Georgia. Mills and Keenum are just vibe guys. Tim Boyle's here. Mixon's nice. So like with Mixon, he was traded because of his contract, and he's one of those backs. Like when you have a back that played at a high level like Mixon did, it's kind of hard to be a bigger back and to be able to run through the tackles as often. So Mixon, like it looks like he lost weight. It's the same thing that happened with Elliott. Like they kind of lost weight, look skinnier, but they'll retain their athleticism. And because of that, they can't really run in between the tackles as much. And so Mixon's probably just gonna be more of a like a zone runner. It's kind of what happened with Singletary and Pierce. Like Pierce got a lot of gap scheme carries, and Singletary had a lot of more zone carries. Probably gonna be the same dynamic, and there Ogunbowale is gonna be the third down back. And Jawar Jordan, is this Louisville guy? Yeah, he seemed cool. And yeah, like it's a nice trade for that. The receiving weapons, like Schultz is fine. Like he's a fine blocker. He's good at finding the open spots in the zone. He's not athletic. He's so like he runs like he has like 20-pound ankle weights on. Jordan's more athletic. He's cool. Cade Stover, forgot about him. Tegan Pitoriano. I feel like I should be able to say that name, but he's here. I don't understand the Cade Stover hype. Like he didn't look good. Didn't look that good as a run blocker, inline tight end, and look kind of unathletic out there. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know tight ends. But the receiving weapons, like Collins is a really good receiver. He got paid. Tank Dell's a really good deep threat, and he has Stephon Diggs now. And like I think Diggs was traded because he was getting paid like a high end number one when he's not that anymore. He's still good and effective, but he wins more in the short areas of the field, medium area of the field. Yeah, casual way of saying it, but whatever. Like he's not gonna beat you deep or threaten you deep, and he's not gonna beat press as great, but you don't need him to now because you have Collins and Tank Dell. This team is crazy. Like you have Noah Brown who played really nice. In Phillip, Dell, and Collins. John Mechie's fast. Ben Skoronki, or Skoranek. So that's super wrong, but Ben Skoronek's a fullback. I like Hutchinson. He's just big and stuff. And then Robert Woods. Like, does Robert Woods even make this team? Steven Sims is here too. It's a crazy. We have the Janky brothers too. Yeah, it's crazy. And this O line, it's interesting. Scruggs is whatever. He's fine. And then, yeah, Kenan Green's fine. Shaq Mason's cool. I don't know. I've seen a couple of episodes of Mason getting his butt kicked, which, yeah, he's kind of stubby. Titus Howard is bad. I don't understand why he got paid. That dude is horrible. That dude's bad, but he could play guard and tackle. And then Tunsil is still an elite tackle. That dude's insanely good. So with the Blake Fisher draft, I think it's more of getting someone that could be a high-end swing tackle because I think Blake Fisher is a pretty good prospect. And someone that can become the right tackle. Because I think, I don't know if he's better than Titus Howard now, but I don't think it's, I wouldn't be surprised if he can be better than Titus Howard this season. Charlie Heck was bad too. Yeah, the depth was pretty bad. Like, yeah, they had some dudes injured last year, but they're starting like their fourth string center. They couldn't really do as much stuff as they wanted to, but they're healthy now, so yeah, yeah, pretty nice offense. Defensively is where I have some issues with this team. Stingley's great. That dude's insane. Just so much like film of him just making crazy plays on the ball because it's a Niners defense and whatever. Like in man coverage, he just sticky in man coverage and in zone coverage, like he's just shooting to the ball. Like there's that one play where like he's playing deep, they throw the ball over to the post route and he just chases it down and intercepts it. Like he's a crazy athlete too. Kamari Lassiter is probably gonna be the nickelback. Yeah. Wait, or I don't know. Like Desmond King's a nickelback too. But in the depth, it's like you have Okuda and Henderson, who are basically bust. So maybe they ramped their career here. Safety wise, like Kalen Bullock's a backup. Like Jimmy Ward's kind of old, right? Right. 32, yeah. So it might be the eventual Jimmy Ward replacement. But Petrie and Ward's good. Petrie's good in the run game. Some special teamers here. Their linebacker core, like Christian Harris, was pretty insane to end the season. Like that dude, like in run fits, he's really good, and in pass coverage, he was making plays. Like he was able to sniff out green plays really well. Like that dude's just straight up good. And then Henry Toto is fine. Like the linebacker depth's fine. I don't like Aziz Al Shair. Like he's a bit more athletic, but when watching the Titans, like it was so bad. Like I think he does fine at just like shooting gaps and getting to the ball, but sometimes he would just guess. Like there's a few times against the Falcons where ball's going this way, he's going this way, and a couple other times because he's playing quarterback. So if the quarterback rolls out, you follow and chase him, so that when they're doing play action, nothing is open or you don't have something wide open. But then there's a couple of times where he just does it, or like the ball's going this way and he shoots a gap here. It's like, dude, they're running wide zone. Like you don't need to shoot this gap, just scrape over. It was pretty frustrating to watch him. Kind of hated it, but he's here. And so the reason why I'm not as high on this team, like I don't know. I like the Colts more than this team. I can't decide between the Jaguars and this team. Cause I like the Jaguars D line, but here it's like, all right, so like the edges here are really great. Like Will Anderson Jr. Like he was a one player last year where I said like, oh, this dude has like Pro Bowl potential as a rookie. Like this dude's really good. I know Pro Bowls don't matter, but he was something that you could project being an edge one on a team, and he was basically that. He could win off to the edge because he's really athletic, has some nice hips, and he wins a lot with power. Because even though he's smaller, he's super strong for his size. Like he'd win him with power in Bama, and just be crazy that way. And I do think he did try to win too much with power. Like he'll try to like forklift guys over and just try to like bowl dudes over in one-on-one situations, and he can do it. But I think he just should just went off the edge just a little bit more and just work off of stuff like that. But he's a crazy run defender too, so yeah, like that dude was just really good as a rookie. And you have the no Hunter here. And so one of my biggest questions was or is where's the interior pass rush? Because last season you had Sheldon Rankins, who was a really good pass rusher inside, and then Malik Collins, who was a really good pass rushing nose tackle. Right, he didn't really play like nose a ton, but he's a bigger body that's a really good one-on-one pass rusher. And he had Jonathan Grenard too. But for the interior pass rush, like it's not really here. So Hunter kind of has to be that, which he did with the Vikings. Like they would line him up over centers, over guards, he would just beat him with a spin move or whatever. He likes to spin move a ton inside. But Hunter's really good. He's a nice run defender. Like he's a really good pass rusher too. So just that duo is going to be really, really good. But the backup, like Birdsuck, is he a edge player? I don't know about Payne. Like is Barnett? Like I think Danico Autry is going to be this team's backup edge, and then Barnett's like the fourth edge, which is fine, I guess. Because like yeah, Autry's more of an edge player that can play inside on passing downs. But in one-on-one situations, he's not that great anymore. Like he could win on. He's a bigger edge, so with bigger edges, they usually win by using the cross chop because you chop their arms, club them hard, which stuns the offensive tackle. Try to turn a corner on them, or you could just bulldoze through guys, which either way works. And so Autry's good at that. But yeah, like on the inside, he's fine. Like same thing, he's gonna use a cross chop against guards, but when you turn the corner, it's a lot of a tighter corner. Nice for some of these bigger dudes. You don't have to be as fluid and stuff. Like Fadikasi is more of a true nose, but he also kind of played bad last year. Just wasn't taking on double teams that well. Settle's kind of a like one gapping, bigger body dude. Doesn't play against double teams that well either. Like I don't think anyone in this team plays against double teams well, except nah, it's a little rough in that department. Like Settle's fine against base blocks and single blocks. Mario Davis Jr. Same situation. He's gonna be good on stunts, which compare nicely with Will Anderson. Khalil Davis and Kirk Hinish were fine. I because they're like this team's third and fourth tackles last season. Which one played better? I think Hinish was the one that played better. It was kind of hard to differentiate between them, but I think Hinish was better in the run game. Like he was able to get lower against double teams and play through blocks better. Yeah, so I think that they're going to be the fourth and fifth D team. Autry's going to be the backup edge. Barnett's like the fourth edge. I think it's fine. Harris kind of sucked. Like I don't think there's much to him. I don't know, like losing Bernard, Rankins, and Malik Collins is tough. Like replacing Bernard with Hunter, like that's cool. That's an upgrade. But Rankins and Collins with Adikasi, Autry, and Settle. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of the way they kind of build their defense, but it'll probably work. Like, like yeah, but it's still such a competitive top three in this division. It's so good. Now the Titans. You have Brian Callahan, who brought his daddy over for the O line, which is going to be interesting. Having more of a Ravens type defense. So you have Will Levis, who played fine last season. What made him fun was he was super, I don't say competitive, but like he just didn't care about his body. Like he would just throw himself for first downs. He would take crazy hits and just get up and just. So that was fun. And they're gonna give him a chance to start. Like they got Mason Rudolph because he because he's more of a competent quarterback than Malik Willis, which Willis has been bad. So yeah, there's your three quarterbacks. Tony Pollard's fine, like the wide zone team. They're gonna do more wide zone stuff and that type of offense. Pollard could do that. Like he's a fine back. Tajay Spears can do that and be like the change of pace dude. Haskins is whatever. Some other guys here too. Chigio Okonkwo. Just give him the ball in his hands. He's gonna make plays. Josh Wiley's here. Nick Vanette. Okay, tight end room and the receiving core. So they upgraded. So even though I was kind of trashing on Ridley because when he's open he does this. At least here, he's not gonna be like the main guy because you have DeAndre Hopkins and like Hopkins. It's kind of funny like how they're gonna be the opposites. Like Hopkins has crazy hands, but he's probably like in the 1 percentile of getting separation. Ridley's probably high in getting separation, but you know he does that. But I think that's fine. Tyler Boyd, slot receiver, he's cool in that role. You have Treylon Burks, who kind of sucked. I didn't like him. Didn't have that dog in him, and he kind of proved that. I think the coach said he has to play special teams if he wants to make the team, something like that. But yeah, he's gonna have to do something. Nick Westbrook-Akini, I think he's been doing good in a couple of the practices. Kyle Phillips, one of those cool white boys. So yeah, pretty neat team. Now the O line is interesting. I don't think it's gonna be set up this way. I think Redden's gonna play right guard. He'll be here. I think Duncan's gonna be a backup. Got a couple of Cleveland dudes because well, you have Daddy Callahan, who was the Browns O line coach. So let's talk about JC Latham. So it was kind of an interesting selection, but since when watching Latham, there's a couple of times when I'm watching D linemen against them, D line prospects, and I'm like, wow, like they're lined up as a 3 tech, which is outside shade of the guard. But then when I watch the end zone view, it's Latham. Like he legit looks like a guard in his stance, which isn't a bad thing necessarily, but he just looked like a guard and played like a guard, like especially on double teams and combo blocks. Like he gets low and drives through DT's hips and just just kills them. So even though he's kind of a bit bigger, heavier, and whatnot, I think they're gonna use him or expect him to be kind of like Orlando Brown Jr., who Baby Callahan had as a left tackle, except that Latham could be much better in the run game. Pass game wise, like he could probably get to that point. But run game wise, he's so much better than Orlando Brown Jr. Like this dude's a legit run blocker. You're gonna have a crazy run blocker that can be just that bigger dude. And so with Orlando Brown Jr. had an O line guy, which Gabagoo, shout out to him. When he showed me how Orlando Brown Jr. played, like even though he's like runs like a 6-second 40-yard dash and is just fat, what makes him so nice is that his first two kick sets gets a lot of depth. So he has a really good first two kick sets, and then he just slows down. But he keeps defenders outside of him because he has super long arms. He has one arm out. You swipe it or whatever, he's not committing with the punch. He just kick setting, has his arm out, and then when you commit, he commits. I think they're gonna do something similar with Latham, where like he's kind of more of a guard body. He might not have like that range like high end tackles do, but if he gets his first two kick sets really good, this is his arm length, hold edges off the edge or hold defenders outside of his frame, then yeah, and it's gonna be hard to like bold use power against him because he's big. Same thing with Orlando Brown Jr. Like if you try to use power against him, it's like cool, like he's big, it's hard to push him back. And if you try to go around them, well, he's gonna just have his arm out. And yeah, and Skoronski was fine. Like he's one of those dudes that play tackle that looks like a guard, but I don't think he should ever be a tackle. Whereas with Latham, it's kind of iffy. Like I guess he could be a tackle. I'd much rather see him at guard, but I understand him at tackle. Whereas with Skoronski, he's not a tackle. Definitely not. He doesn't have that range either. But he's smaller, so he can't make up for it. He looked fine in the run. Like the O line was so bad last season. It was just flat out bad. But he did the best he could, I guess. I don't think he has like. I don't think he's someone that's gonna be like a high level guard, but he is pretty athletic for a guard and moves pretty well, which I think fits what Baby Callahan wants to do. They got like Christian Perry, who's a good zone blocker, and he's got to get into the second level, and he's a good center. Like there's nothing special about him, where he doesn't do anything at a high level, but he's just a really nice quality center. Big Charles is whatever. I think Dylan Radden's gonna be the guard. Like same thing. He's a bit more, just a bit more on the smaller side, but he's cool. And then I think it's gonna be between NPF and Jalen Duncan for the right tackle spot. Like you have Jerron Christensen and Leroy Watson, but I think they're just here to be good depth. And Stig Charles and Brunskill are gonna be good depth too. And with NPF, his rookie season, he was really nice as a right tackle. When he played left tackle, kind of sucked. And he's NPF and Jalen Duncan are both huge dumbasses. They're super athletic and have so much potential, but they're dumbasses. NPF especially. And so with NPF, like he's so athletic, who make crazy reach blocks, like insane reach blocks, just because he can, because he's that athletic. But he's a bit of a dumbass, so he makes mistakes that are so dumb. You're just like, dude, like not even high schoolers make these mistakes, but it's fine. Jalen Duncan, on the other hand, that dude is insanely athletic and talented. Like his first step, or like the first steps of the block, he's in the winning position. And you know what he does? He stops. He loses. He just chooses to lose. It's so crazy to watch. Like his first 1 or 2 steps are like perfect position. It's like cool, like you're winning, like just finish. And he just stops. It's like, dude, how? Like he could be a good tackle. How? He's a legit terrorist though, as a lineman. But maybe Daddy Callahan could get something out of these dudes, which they're so talented. It's just I don't know what their issue is. Like it's a mix of them being a dumbass and probably some coaching stuff. But if hopefully Daddy Kellen could work his magic on these dudes. And yeah, it's a interesting offense. Hopefully it works out for Levis's sake. If you like Levis or whatever. Defensive wise, like Hooker's a good safety. Molden's a free safety. All right. McCurry's cool. I like Chidobe Awuzie. He looked pretty nice when I watched them. Snead's good. Snead's super physical. It's gonna be more of a Ravens type defense. All right. We have Caleb Farley, who's hurt. Yeah, everything else is fine. Like Gibbons kind of surprising because he's a solid backer. Like he's a Mike backer that just gets to the right spots, does good in run fits. I didn't like, I just focus on D line, so pass rush or pass coverage wise, I didn't notice anything from him. But when he spots drops, like it looks fine. I think Gray might be more of the pass coverage guy, right? Like that would make sense because Kenneth Murray is he's another dude that's kind of more physical. Like yeah, he could shoot gaps pretty well and take on blocks. He's really physical. There's times where he's like bulldozing running backs, and if you use him on like blitzes and stunts, he does pretty well on them. But yeah, he's just a fine backer. Like it's fine. Like I honestly prefer Murray over that Shair dude. Whatever his name is. I don't want to think about him. The edge room, I don't know. It's like now the edge is gonna have to be able to drop in coverage or do something else. Like Arden Key, he's good at speed of power stuff, and he has a nice cross chop, and he's pretty good at rushing inside too because he can move laterally pretty well and attack space, and he's a bit taller and longer, so he's good at that, and good at being used on stunts, especially as a crasher because he's super violent. I don't know about him dropping in coverage though. Like I think Jalen Harrell can. He was a Michigan dude, a bit smaller, undersized, not crazy as like an edge dude, but can do different things. Landry can drop into coverage. He's more of a dude that wins off the edge, and he does pretty well against it. Like he'll just like dip underneath guys and dip and rip, and looks pretty well doing it. His speed of power, like it's so funny. Like I remember just one play where they're trying to set up a one-on-one with Simmons, so Landry and Key were using speed of power to push the pocket. It's such a huge difference watching them. Like Key is just like going, and then Landry, it's like, it's getting some pockets getting kind of pushed. But yeah, the DT room is interesting. Like Marlon Davidson was okay. Coburn, I liked him as a nose tackle, but it's just tough to develop me as a nose tackle. Like you're gonna bounce from team to team. You're more of a project nose tackle. I do like Coburn though, but like, is he this team's fourth best DT? It's rough. The depth is rough. Sebastian Joseph Day wasn't good. Like just flat out. That Chargers D line. Yeah, I'll get to the Chargers when I get to him, but yeah, he wasn't good. Like he was fine against base blocks, but whatever. And now for the real fun part. I'll go with Simmons first. Simmons is insane. Like that dude plays like 80% of snaps, 90% of snaps. He's a high level run defender. As a pass rusher, he's so good. Like when he hits a club and rip, he's flipping his hips. Like it looks so fluid. Like he killed Chris Lindstrom, that PFF merchant. Like he killed them in their game. He was just like just doing this, and then Lindstrom just fly over like 5 yards because Simmons is that physical and strong. He's so insanely strong. If he does like a push and pull, like you're getting pulled through him. He's just so good, just at playing DT. So he's fun. He's cool. He's gonna be like their focal point and their main pass rusher. You just funnel one-on-ones to him, just because you can. But the Ravens don't really give their interior guys as much one-on-ones, so yeah, like they usually use them just more on stunts and loops and blitzes and slants and all that type of stuff, but don't really give them one-on-ones. I hope I hope they still give Simmons more one-on-ones. Cause yeah, he's good at that. And then Tavondre Sweat. So as a nose tackle, I wasn't a huge fan of Tavondre Sweat. Like he played a lot of three tech and shaded over guards at Texas, but the reason why he was taken in the second round is because of the potential of Sweat. No one's built like Sweat. No one that is as big as Sweat moves like Sweat. Like he's a unicorn, and you have to pay up to get these unicorns because, like, if it pans out, you just have a deal that just like a body type that's just never been seen, basically. That can do different things that no one else can. And Sweat's insanely strong, and he's such a good mover for his size. But that's kind of like the issue. Like he's a good mover for his size. Like as a three tech, he's unathletic. It's not like Dexter Lawrence. Like Dexter Lawrence is insane mover, and not just for his size, but just insane mover overall. Like just the way he moves his body and how fluid he is. Sweat's not that. Like he's insanely athletic for his size, but just for his size, which kind of repeating myself, but there's some issues with them. Like in double teams, he doesn't really drop that well, and he also plays too high. So like because he's bigger, it's hard for him to get lower. So he has to get more flexible, which is going to be hard to do at this point in his career. But he can't split double teams just by beating for one dude. It's just when they get in his hip and knock his hip over, it kind of kills him. Like he got killed in the Bama game, especially on double teams. And pass rushing wise, like I don't know how it's gonna look at the next level, especially with Bernard Wilson being the DC. Like, do you give him one-on-ones? I think he could probably like bulldoze small centers, and him just pushing the pocket. I think he'll be interesting at doing that. Like, imagine like a 290-pound center going up against a 400-pound dude. Like he's gonna play at like 400 pounds. Like let's not kid ourselves there. He's huge. Like, he's just gonna bulldoze through him. So that's gonna be real interesting to watch. And yeah, and just like the same issue with some of these tackles and these other French players. Like he's a dumbass too. Like he got like a DOI or whatever. Like typical Texas education. But yeah, the potential for him is there. Like I don't think he's gonna be a crazy run defender. I don't think he has that potential. He doesn't have that movement skills for it. I think he can destroy base blocks, which is what he did in college. Like any one-on-one block with him in the guard, he killed. So I think it's gonna be similar to the next level, but just more of the nose tackle stuff, like double teams. I'm kind of worried about. I feel super iffy about, and just pass rushing wise too. Like I don't think he's athletic enough to be a quality like looper and crasher and all that. That's gonna be interesting, but it's a fun team. I'm definitely excited to watch this team. All these teams in this division, like it's such a fun division with so much potential. Like this whack ass division, or this one, which I'll talk about next. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed seeing me talk about these teams, and yeah, have fun. Peace.